Have some sense. What can Biggie do with only one eye? The rest of the boys were looking from Jack to laugh curiously. And another thing, you can't have an ordinary hand because the beast doesn't leave track. If it did, you would have seen them. For all we know, the beast might swing through the tree like what's it mean? Jean nodded. "So we have got to think." Biggie took off his damaged glasses and cleaned the remains. "Lion, how about yours? Relax, you haven't got the conch hair. I mean, how about yours? Suppose the best come how you are all away. I can't see properly, and if I get scared," Jack broke in confidently, "you are always scared." "I got the conch." "Conch?" shouted Jack. "We don't need the conch any more. We know how to say things. What good did Simon do speaking, or Billy, or Walter? It's time some people know. You have got to keep quiet and leave this siding thing to the rest of us." Relaf could no longer ignore his speech. The blood was hot in his cheek. "You haven't got the conch," he said. "Sit down." Jack's face was so wet that the fearless shadow as Claire Brown flickered. He licked his lips and remained standing. "This is a hunter job." The rest of the boys watched intently. Biggie, finding himself uncomfortably invisible, slid the conch to the left knee and sit down. The silence grew oppressive, and Biggie held his breath. "This is more than a hunter job," said Rilaf at last, "because you can't track the beast, and don't you want to be risked?" He turned to the assembly. "Don't you all want to be risked?" He looked back at Jack. "I said before the fire, it is the main thing. Now the fire must be out." The old expression saved him and gave him the energy to attack. "Hasn't anyone got any sense? We have got to relight that fire." "You never thought of that, Jack, did you? Or don't any of you want to be risked?" Yes, they wanted to be risked. There was no doubt about that, and with a violent swing to the left side, the chorus passed. Biggie let out his breath with a gasp, reached for it again, and failed. He lay against a log, his mouth gaping, blue shadow creeping round his lips. Nobody minded him. "Now think, Jack. Is there anywhere on the island you haven't been?" Unwillingly, Jack answered, "There is only, but of course you remember the tail and part where the rocks are all built up. I have been near there. The rock make a sort of bridge. There is only on way up, and the thing might live there." All the assembly talked at once. "Quite all right, that's where we will look. If the beast isn't there, we will go up the mountain and look, and light the fire. Let's go. We will eat fire, then go." Relax past. "We would better take prayer." After they had eaten, Relaf and the Biggin set out along the beach. They let Biggie probed up on the platform. This they promised, like the other, to be a sympathy under a blue dome. The beach stretched away before them in a gentle curve till for the day, not advanced enough to be obscured by the shifting veil of marriage. Under Olaf's direction, they picked up a sureful way along the Palm Churica. Richer than there, the hot sand down by the water had let Jack led the way, and Jack trod with the rhetorical caution of the could have seen any enemy 20 years away. Relaf walked in the rear, thankful to have a speedy responsibility for a time. Simon, walking in front of Relaf, felt a flicker of incredulity, a beast which glow, that courage that set on a moment, top that left on track and yet was not fast enough to catch Seymour. However, Simon thought of the beast, there rose before his inward sight the picture of a human at once heroic and sick. He said other people could stand up and speak, though and is humbly, apparently, without that dreadful feeling of the press of personality, could say what they would, as though they were speaking to only one person. He stopped aside and looked back. Relaf was coming along, holding his spear over his shoulder defeatedly. Simon allowed his pace to slacken until he was walking side by side with Relaf and looking up at him through the coarse black hair that now fell to his eyes. Relaf glanced sideways, smiled construction, as though he had forgotten that Simon had made a fool of himself, then looked away again at nothing. For a moment or two Simon was happy to be accepted, and then he succeeded to think about himself when he pushed into a tree. Relaf looked sadly important, and Robert sniggered. Simon rolled, and a weight smote on his forehead. Children read and chuckled. Rudolph said Simon and returned to his personal tale. They would reach the castle sometime, and the chef would have to go forward. Jack came trotted back. We are in sight now. All right, we will get as close as we can. He followed Jack toward the castle, where the ground rose slight. On their left was an importable tangle of creeps and tree. Why couldn't there be something in that? Because you can see nothing go in or out. What about the castle then? Look, Relaf parted the scream of grace and looked out. There were only a few more yards of stone ground, and then the two sides of the island come almost together, so that one expected a peak of handled, but instead of this a narrow ledge of rock, a few yards wide and perhaps 15 long, continuing the island out into the sea. There lay another of those pieces of pink squareness that in the destruction of the island they said of the cast, perhaps 100 feet high, was the pink bastion they had seen from the mountain top. The rock of the cliff was split, and the top lay littered with green lamp that seemed to totter behind. Relaf the tall Grace had failed with silent hunter. Relaf looked at Jack. You are a hunter. Jack won't read, I know. All right, something deep in Relaf spoke for him. I am chief. I will go. Don't argue. He turned to the other. You had Here, wait for me. He found his voice tending either to despair or to come out too loud. He looked at Jack. Do you think Jack mattered? I have been all over. It must be here. I see. Simon mumbled confusedly. I don't believe in the best. Relove answered him positively, as if agreeing about the water. No, I suppose not. His mouth was tight and pale. He put back his hair very slowly. Well, so long.